Hi, everybody. We're live with Erin Lockwood. She's a 6-novel self-published author. She's a former international competitive figure skater. I don't think we've ever had any competitive figure skater people on here. Super excited. She's based in Colorado, and she's joining us here. Welcome, Erin.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here in South Korea, right?
And globally, we'll reach the world globally.
I love it. I love it. It's one world right now.
Exactly. Love it. So we're just going to jump right into the questions, if that's okay.
Perfect.
So the first question is, you were a competitive international figure skater. You were on the ice. Oh, that's super exciting.
It's freezing cold.
I'm just curious, do you bring some of that competitive spirit or, what you learned during that time into your writing, and what's the link or connection, if there is one?
Yeah. Well, I bring everything from my past into my writing. And I think that, setting content aside, um, skating really brought me up in a really strong work ethic world, and I take time very seriously. I take other people's time very seriously, so I'm really diligent about deadlines and respecting others time, my editor and my family and other people. Everybody's affected by anything that I do, really, and I take it seriously, and that definitely came from skating. But content wise, man, is there a lot there. And I have not written specifically about ice skating, but I've taken a lot from my past into my books. I have all of the Rogers, written from a young girl's perspective going into her senior year of high school, where she was an international ballerina. So I really just took a lot of my own experiences, made her ballerina instead of a figure skater, and how that transition going into high school after really being absent her whole life. Also, in Things You Can't Take, that was really my Me Too movement novel that I wrote. And I wrote it before the Me Too movement really broke out. So I was kind of like in the middle of finishing it up when all that Harvey Weinstein stuff happened. And I just thought, I'm so grateful for myself that I felt like there is this void that needed to be filled. There's so many stories out there that need to be told. And I might tell them in a fictional setting, but I felt really strongly that that was the right time for that book. And that was about sexual assault and how they're two best friends, and how one of them experienced it, and as close as they were, the other one really didn't see it. And that was absolutely drawn from my personal experiences in ice skating.
Wow, that's so amazing. I love how, there's so much truth in
Absolutely. Yeah.
the writing, and
I
how I think it just brings it to the forefront of the reader's mind.
Right, and I've always said that there's no such thing as fiction. There's no such thing as nonfiction. It's all just sort of a jumbled mess of um, our our perception. And
Yeah.
so I think that there's so much truth in fiction than some people might give fiction credit for.
Yeah, no, I'm personally a nonfiction girl, but
Yeah.
I think, the more I'm understanding about
Mhm.
fiction and fiction writing, and getting to talk to you and other, fiction writers, I'm so inspired by
Right.
how much, truth and how much is interwoven from the lives of the author.
Yeah, and there are so many authors, and I'm so grateful for, that have author notes in the back of their fiction novels. Colleen Hoover did this in It Ends With Us, and it just made that novel so much more powerful, that she shared a lot of her personal story and put her personal touch on why she wrote the story and what parts were true. what she really brought from her own experiences into it. So I try to do that with my novels too. And I do like a author's note or acknowledgments, and I write about like why I took this journey to write this novel.
That's so inspiring. So can you tell us why you started writing, and if you have any tips for first-time writers or people who are maybe a little bit like fearful to start writing?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, you can't deny that it's a scary thing to put yourself out there, and share your work in any capacity. And then to write a whole novel, there's a lot of room for mistakes in 80,000 words. So yeah, definitely needed a little bravery for it. But what inspired me to write really, is the same reason that I have the bravery to publish. And that's my husband, because I think that we have such a beautiful love story, love connection. We're still very much in love with each other. And I watched 50 Shades of Grey, got sucked into it. I know it's not everybody's favorite, but I loved it. I loved the contemporary romance. And so reading that novel, I felt like I could do this. Like I'm really good at expressing myself on paper, and I decided to write a novel because I just simply knew I could. I wasn't a big career ambition, at least not at the time. I just felt like I can, so I will. And it
Wow.
started, and then I couldn't stop.
That's awesome. So what advice would you have for first-time writers?
So yeah, it takes a lot of nerve to put your work out there. But what I love to do, if I ever have doubt, I go and look up my favorite novels, fan favorite novels, my best friend's favorite novels, and I read their 1-star reviews, because it's such a humble reminder that not every book is for everyone, but it will always be for someone.
I love that. And I actually did that because we were talking about it the other day. And I was like, oh,
Yeah.
I understand why she does this.
Right.
That's such a great, I love how not every book is for everybody, but it's for someone.
Always going to be for somebody. Yeah.
Yeah. Recently, my coach said this. She said, I believe that humans create something, and that creation is needed by somebody else.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're all connected, right? And there's only so much energy in the universe. So if you're using your energy towards somebody, people are going to feel it,
Right, absolutely.
And be received in some capacity.
Yeah. So you're working on your 7th novel called Girl Tribe.
Yes.
And it's based on, super exciting. And it's based on you and your 3 other girlfriends, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Could you talk a little bit more about that, or without any spoiler?
Sure, no spoilers.
But and about women's empowerment.
It all worked out. It's just a matter of time of me getting it out. But yeah, my girlfriends, the 4 of us, really have such, I think, amazing personalities to begin with, but also we complement each other in such a perfect way. And we have these 4 pillars from the Briggs-Meyer personalities. And I can see that in a lot of literature and pop culture, like Sex and the City and Harry Potter houses, and they're all really based on the Briggs-Meyer personalities. And I just sort of noticed and identified that we each have very strong pillars, the 4 of us, and how we kind of talk to each other and lean on each other. And some of us have not grown up with girlfriends. And suddenly, now that the 4 of us have met and we complement each other so well, like now we have our tribe. Really, it's a strong bond.
That's great. And could you, I mean, I know you talked about in your previous novel about sexual assault and your the book that it came out before #MeToo, and this Girl Tribe is about women's empowerment. Could you talk a little bit more about that?
Absolutely. Yeah, I feel like there's been a lot of boys club, in the past, and that's sort of being shaken up right now. And I think that this girl tribe thing doesn't necessarily replace the boys club. I think that the women's empowerment and that movement is about women being women and not necessarily emasculating them, but just showing off our best selves. And yeah, I think we have so much to give and offer. We're amazing, but we're never going to be men. Men will never be women. So I think that's what it really is about, especially the Girl Tribe and the 4 women are about how they support each other and help each other shine.
I love that. That's so fantastic. I love what you said. I remember doing this feminine leadership video, and it was exactly that, not leading like a man.
Right.
But speaking your truth as a woman, and whatever form that comes in and that looks like for you.
Right. And I feel like, relationships are always a balance. And I feel like, especially in a heterosexual relationship, there is typically the masculine personality and the feminine personality. And it doesn't always necessarily have to be associated with that sex, Women can be my mother's very masculine. My father's a little bit feminine.
Yeah,
and so they balance each other. They work, well that way because they balance each other. I think it's when somebody demasculates somebody who's masculine or tries to soften, somebody who, it's when we try to change other people instead of complimenting each other, because I think we're all perfect matches for each other if we just let, us be ourselves. It's okay to be soft. It's okay to be strong.
Yeah, I love that. That's so great. So thank you so much for sharing. Do you have any questions for me?
I do have questions for you. So my most random question is, how often do you make your bed?
Oh, I never make my bed.
No. So, no judgment.
Yeah, like that's an easy question. Like I never make it.
It's funny. I make my bed every day. I am adamant about making my bed because I was this Navy SEAL general. I think I cannot remember his name. I always forget his name, but the speech was memorable. And he gave a commencement speech at the University of Texas, and he talked about how important it was to make your bed. And it was, I'll never not make my bed, because first of all, it's the first thing you've done, right? You wake up, you make your bed, and then check off the list. You are off to a good start. Like nothing's going to get you down because you're already accomplishing things. And then also, if you end up having a really bad day, then you have a really nice bed to come home to. So it always made me think like, well, no matter what, either way, I'm making that bed.
Yeah, I love that. I've never been a bed maker.
No.
And I'm not a typical cleaner, and I think it comes from the fact that we lived with our grandmother, maternal grandmother, and she would make the beds for us.
Oh, yes. Uh-huh.
So I just got into the habit of not making my own bed.
Right.
But I recently read there's this great study on how we should, not that I'm condoning my behavior, but there's this great study on how we should not be making our beds because it's good to air out the sheets below.
Oh, that's interesting. Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. I never thought of it that way.
So if you don't make your bed that once or
That's
twice, like
it's because you're airing out the sheets. I love it. Don't mind us. We're airing the sheets out.
exactly.
I like that. I will use that if yes. Okay, so I have okay, I want to know because I have a theory about people and their best quality and their worst quality are always the same thing. I think that if you think about your best quality, it's going to turn full circle and that's your worst quality. So what would you feel yours is?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think where the two juxtapose, I think the my best quality is definitely educating or coaching. I
Uh-huh.
think I can educate and coach the crap out of most things.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the challenging quality or the quality to improve is impatience.
Mm-hmm.
And I was literally just having this conversation with a coach friend of mine. And what I love about coaching and educating is that it pushes me to be less impatient. Because if
Mm-hmm.
you're impatient with a client or a student, it's going to
Right.
be harder to get through to them.
Right. And then I guess that would make it harder to be with them versus at them.
Yes, I love it. Cheers to that.
Cheers, I've got mine cocktail.
Yay.
All right. My last question is I love following people that really inspire me. Do you follow anybody on social media that is you feel is the most motivation for you? Who would that person be?
Yeah. First of all, I'm a big proponent of first being with yourself
Mm-hmm.
and making sure that promoting yourself
Mm-hmm.
in a way, making sure that that's you're on a good foundation with that, and then being in the right mindset to follow others.
Yes.
So with that caveat, one of my favorite people is this guy, Shola Richards. He wrote this book called Making Work Work.
Making work work. Okay.
And he came out of just really challenging corporate bullying where he was actually suicidal.
Oh no.
So
Yeah.
he starts his book like, I wanted to kill myself. And you're like, oh my gosh. But he has since, turned his life around. That book was just this top seller. He quit his job at UCLA as like a organizational behavioral director and is doing keynote speaking, inspiring people to be civil at work full time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But he's just so authentic and vulnerable. And I really appreciate that,
Yeah.
about you and about other people I surround myself with. You're the average of the 5 people that you
Yes.
spend your time with. And so I
Yes.
just
We
want to
my
spend
husband and I talk
time.
about that all the time. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's like your girl tribe.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. They each I mean, I have different conversations with each of them and I feel different, better and stronger from each of them.
Yeah, that's amazing. So if people need to get in touch with you, erinlockwood.com, is that the best place?
Yes, it is. Yeah, I'm all over social media. I am Erin Lockwood author on Instagram and on Facebook, and I believe Erin Lockwood Books on Twitter. But yes, find me on my website, email me. I'm love to talk to you.
And how can we and the audience get a hold of your books?
On Amazon. I'm selling exclusively on Amazon because I make them available to read for free through Kindle Unlimited. So just look me up, Erin Lockwood, on Amazon. There's something for everybody. My books are very different. And yeah, there's something for everyone.
That's great. So exciting. Thank you so much for your time, Erin,
Yeah,
and
thank you. It's
for
been fun.
joining. And happy FriYAY.
Yes, happy
Oh,
Friday.
tomorrow for you.
Tomorrow for me, but yes, happy Friday to you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Bye. Take care.
Okay, bye.